Le dijo que no entendía por qué se separaba los baños de hombres y de las mujeres. Él lo escuchó, le dio una respuesta atinada y real, le dijo y lo verás en este video. En él, Neil deGrasse Tyson quiso defender a toda costa los deportes, entre comillas, por hormonas. Mira el video completo y dime qué opinas. Pero antes, si este tipo de contenido te gusta, suscríbete a nuestro canal. Tenemos la meta a mediano plazo de llegar a los 100,000 suscriptores. Sin mayor dilación, comencemos.
Because you think like guys with should get in the women's swimming pool, basically.
Well, whatever got clipped and reposted, I don't know. But what I said was that in this emergent space where you have people expressing themselves on a gender spectrum, and you want to now compete in sports, that's still a frontier to be solved. And I don't have the answer, but I can suggest one, whether or not it'll work. Maybe we don't compete by gender anymore. We compete on hormone ratios, okay? There was a woman who had uncommonly high testosterone levels, and they wanted to disqualify her because of how manly she was when she was born a woman and competing as a woman. So that's how we're going to do it.
You know, this
Because what you really want, wait, Bill, no, I've thought this through more than you might think I have.
Oh.
So what you really want is an interesting contest between people who are similarly talented. The least interesting Super Bowl you could ever watch is a blowout by halftime.
See, what we agree on is that there are anomalies in human nature, whereas
yes.
you know, the vast majority of people, I'm sorry, are still male or female. And certainly every cell in our body is dictating one of those other sexes. I mean, obviously
the hormones are. Yeah.
Obviously also I make sperm and other people make eggs.
That's what hormones do. Yeah.
You can't deny that. Okay. So but as liberals, I think agree that, you know, there are anomalies in nature and they should be respected and protected. But this attempt to reorganize all of society around what a very tiny percentage, who again, we can protect and respect without pretending that every baby is a jump ball like penis. I don't know, that doesn't mean anything. We have no idea what this child is. I mean, that seems to be where you want to go. I mean, like, how many people fit this description that we should reorganize sports around? We have men's sports and women's sports. And if the best team in the WNBA played the worst team in the NBA, the score would be 1,000,000-0. Can we organize society around that basic point with this, of course, proviso that we protect and respect people who do not fit into it?
Let's segregate society between dark-skinned people and light-skinned people that nature made it that way, and that's how it is.
Well, nature did make it that way. And it's not segregating.
Well, there was a
time segregating anything.
That attitude 150 years ago was
2 years ago. You act like this was yes, right. Lincoln. This was a big issue in the Lincoln-Douglas debates. Trans people. That's right.
No, I'm talking about black,
remember
white.
that from
I'm talking about
1861. Yes, I remember those debates.
It was 1860.
And Lincoln was all about getting trans. Oh, for sake, you're ridiculous.
No. So here it is. Just all I'm saying is that, how about this? I'm looking at schools in Manhattan, and there's a school there, and there's built in the 20s and 30s. And there's a doorway that says boys, and a separate doorway on the other side of school that says girls. And I'm thinking,
God.
Why are we doing this?
Because people are mostly boys and girls?
But why split them entering a school building?
Because they pee differently? Jesus Christ, I have to explain this?
No, because you know what I thought when I saw that? It's colored fountain over here, white fountain over here. That's what I thought when I saw that.
Well, that's not the same thing.
Well, it's not exactly the same thing, but that's what I thought. It's not exactly, I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
But this is what I always say about these kind of issues. There's two ways that you can be benighted about something. One, you can be too far from it.
Yeah.
Like, I would be too far from certain issues, racial issues, of course. Mm-hmm. How could I ever know?
Right.
You can also be lost sort of thinking-wise, as I am, because I'm too far from it, if you're too close to it.
Yes.
that
You
can
missed the elephant.
Well, you missed the elephant. It's the fly on the Mona Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fly wants to be on the Mona Lisa, I don't know, and I can't even appreciate art, but okay, you get my point. And so, like, I think when you see that, I totally understand why a man of your age does, but I don't think it's accurate.
So I used to wrestle, high school and college, okay? It's relevant to this conversation, believe it or not. So I was captain of my high school team, undefeated, although...
Wow.
But it was in New York. The real wrestlers are in like Iowa, you know, and Oklahoma.
Oh, I'm sure there's some wrestlers.
There's some, but if you really balance
New
it out,
York
it's
has
not.
no tough guys?
We got tough guys, but they'll shoot you or punch you in the face. They're not wrestling with wrestling moves. But anyhow, what you want is a match that's interesting to observe, not where one person dominates the other. In wrestling, they know this. There are 10 weight categories. In high school, I was 190 pounds. That was 50 pounds ago or more. I was 190 pounds. Very good incentive to stay there because if I were 1 pound over, the next category was unlimited. So I was there at 190 pounds. I'm not wrestling someone 127. No. They find somebody else at 127 to wrestle 127. That makes the match more interesting for the viewer. So if we can split wrestling into 10 categories, and that becomes the wrestling match.
But all men against each other.
Correct. So,
Okay,
so
again,
now,
the
I get
sort
that.
of key point.
Okay. Okay. So all I'm saying is, what is it that makes the man the man? Is it the hormones? Okay. Is it, if it's the hormones and you decide to give yourself a different cocktail of hormones, I'm making this up, by
Why
the way.
would you-
I'm not saying it should happen this way. It's a way to start thinking
Okay,
about it.
it would be-
maybe the track meets have hormone categories.
And maybe giving yourself the wrong hormones is deleterious to your health. Would you not admit that? Do you think we can just safely do things like this?
So you feel this way because you're so deeply concerned about the health of the people who are trying to find their place on the gender spectrum? You care about their health so much that you don't want them to go through that?
It's not something that keeps me up at night, but when the subject comes up, I care about them like I care about all people. So if there is something...
You do, by the way. You think about all people.
Of course.
Yeah, I
Is
give
that
it.
a-
I
is
give you
that-
that.
Oh, okay. You're being
You think about all people. No, I'm being
Yeah, I
sincere.
do. Yes. Yeah. Old school liberal.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want all people to have, make this very challenging world that we live in better. So that's why there's honest debate about this issue.
Hablemos un momento sobre esa práctica común que hemos visto en muchas culturas y sociedades, la separación de baños por género. ¿Por qué existe esta separación y cuáles son las razones detrás de esta práctica? La realidad es que esta separación ha estado influenciada por una mezcla de factores históricos, sociales, culturales y de privacidad. La idea principal detrás de esta práctica es proporcionar un espacio más cómodo y privado para las personas al utilizar instalaciones sanitarias. Al dividir por género se busca preservar la privacidad y la comodidad de quienes utilizan los baños. Las normas culturales y sociales también han desempeñado un papel importante en este aspecto. En muchas sociedades ha existido históricamente la expectativa de modestia y decoro, lo que ha llevado a la creación de instalaciones sanitarias separadas para hombres y mujeres. La seguridad y protección son otros aspectos que se han considerado al implementar la separación por género. Esta separación reduce el riesgo de situaciones incómodas o peligrosas. Incluso las normas de construcción y diseño de edificios reflejan esta práctica, con regulaciones y estándares que a veces especifican baños separados para hombres y mujeres. Si trasladamos esta discusión al ámbito deportivo, pues existen diferencias fisiológicas entre hombres y mujeres que influyen en el rendimiento deportivo, lo que llevó a la creación de categorías separadas. La separación por género en el deporte garantiza la equidad y justicia en la competición, evitando situaciones en las que las diferencias fisiológicas podrían generar desventajas significativas para un género en particular. ¿Y tú qué opinas? Déjamelo saber en los comentarios. Y aquí culmina este video. Si te gustó, dale like, comenta el video y compártelo. Gracias, hasta luego.